Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode. Today, we'll be reading 4 stories of the ghosts on the island of Sodor. So please enjoy.
Once upon a time, there was a tank engine who worked on the Farquhar branch line as the main goods engine. He didn't have a name or a number, and he was pretty happy working on the line until one night. The engine was pulling a small gunpowder train with fuel tankers heading to the big station. He was terrified of pulling the gunpowder train with fuel tankers, but he knew he had to get the job done. But he didn't know what was ahead of him. By the watermill, there was a broken bit of track. The engine was so focused to do his job that he didn't know until it was too late, and landed with a rough bump, causing the train to explode. And now every year on the date of the accident, it runs again as a warning to others, plunging into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul. A slate quarry on the Scarlowy Railway had just purchased their own engine to deliver the slate to and from the incline to the transfer yards. And he didn't have a name or a number since he was privately bought, and he used to deliver a ton of slate from the quarries too. However, one night he didn't return to the slate quarry. One foggy night, the little engine was returning home to the quarry, and it was a misty, moonlit night, and as the old engine puffed on the bridge, he suddenly caught on the sleepers and fell off into the swamps below. He was never found again, but many workmen will tell you that when the moon is full, they would see the little engine puffing above the bridge to get back home, but he never reaches the other side. Once there was a big engine on the main line. He was a heavy goods engine for the Northwestern Railway. His name was Montgomery, or Monty for short, but his real name was Gresley's Monster, since he was an LNER Gresley class with 10 driving wheels. One night, Montgomery was taking a goods train down the line until he was suddenly switched onto the branch line. He didn't notice that a rock slide was right ahead of him until it was too late. He slammed on his brakes, but the damp rails made him slip, and soon he hit the rock slide and fell into the ravine below, taking half of his train with him. The next day, they sent a little engine to retrieve the train. All he found was Montgomery's rear end of the train. with the brake van attached to it. He couldn't see Montgomery, so he coupled up to the remaining half of his train and puffed away, saddened over Montgomery's death. But Montgomery would have returned as a spirit of the ravine, warning anybody of the landslides coming up. Once there was an old tender engine working at the Sodor ironworks before the 2 diesels arrived there. He was a very hard worker until one night, he was taking an empty scrap train back to the ironworks for work to start in the morning. He was an old tender engine with wooden brake boxes, and his tender coupling wasn't checked properly. So, on that night, it had happened. As the engine was puffing back and some fragments of which formed, the tender coupling had snapped and began to go faster and faster down the hill as he watched in horror as his train with his tender followed behind him. And his whistle fell off. He yelled out it was too late and fell off into the smelting pot. And now he haunts the ironworks, and every Halloween night the ghost train returns to the smelter's yard, looking for his long-lost whistle.
Horrifying, wasn't it? Well, that's all the stories for tonight. And tomorrow, we may see you again. Or next year. Maybe next year, there will be more stories. Maybe there will, maybe there won't be. But we'll have to wait and see. And until that day happens, good night. Happy Halloween.